Alright y'all, let's get right into it. A big move just happened with Demar Derozan being traded to the Kings in a sign and trade. The trade is the Kings get Derozan, signing a 3-year, $70 million contract. The Bulls get Chris Duarte, 2 second-round picks in cash, while the Spurs get Harrison Barnes. And they also get a 2031 unprotected pick swap. Demar offensively isn't the same player he was a couple of years ago, but he's still a very good scorer, especially in the mid-range. You can argue he's the second best mid-range scorer behind KD. The past 2 seasons, Demar has shot 43% and 47% from the mid-range, which is great considering the volume and how contested those shots are. He will give the Kings a guy who will consistently give them mid-range scoring, which will be big in clutch time situations where Demar has been one of the best clutch time scorers in the NBA for the past couple of seasons. But we all know Demar doesn't take or make a lot of shots from deep. Last season was the first time he shot over 2 attempts a game from deep since 2017. The Kings offense has been great these last 2 seasons with Sabonis as the playmaking hub running DHOs with shooters, or shooters coming off screens into his handoffs in the 2-man game with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Now the Kings are adding DeRozan, a non-shooter from deep and his best having the ball in his hands, creating in the mid-range. Now defensively, DeRozan is below average or at best average, and the Kings already are not a good defensive team. The last 2 seasons they've had the 14th and the 25th best defensive rating, so at best they are an average defensive team. Now DeRozan is coming into the mix and he's a below average defender. Sabonis as their defensive anchor already caps their defensive ceiling. Now they have to rely on Keanu Ellis and their rookie Devin Carter being very good to great point of attack defenders and everyone else doing enough to tread water. DeMar DeRozan's fit with the Kings for me is questionable, so my biggest questions is how much DeMar's lack of outside shooting hurts the Kings spacing, and defensively, will Keanu Ellis and Devin Carter be good enough as the 2 best POAs? Will DeRozan be average and everyone else do enough to tread water? Now, where does this place the Kings in the West? To me, they are for sure not better than OKC, Minnesota, Mavs, the Grizzlies, and the Nuggets. So they are anywhere from the 6 to the 9 range, which I would have had the Kings at even if they didn't trade for DeRozan. DeRozan is not a big ceiling raiser with his offensive and defensive limitations, but he's still good enough to raise the Kings' floor. The Kings are still a first round exit to me and at best lose in the second round. Now for the Bulls side, trading DeRozan is the right move. It's been clear for a while now the Bulls have needed to blow it up and fully commit to a rebuild, and now they are getting closer to doing it. Now with the Bulls getting rid of DeRozan, I expect Vucevic, Lonzo, and Zach LaVine to be gone as well, with Zach LaVine and Vucevic to be traded for whatever they can get this offseason or at the trade deadline, and Lonzo to be bought out this offseason, which is great. The Bulls can tank, retain their first round pick for this season from the Spurs, which is top 10 protected. This upcoming draft class is loaded and the Bulls can be bad for a couple of years, seeing which players are the young core to keep long term. Now for the Spurs, Harrison Barnes is fine. Now, Kings fans hate him with all their heart, but he gives the Spurs a solid shooter from deep, more presence in the wing room, and he gives them another vet in the locker room alongside Chris Paul, who has playoff experience, not to mention his contract expires in 2 years. So the Spurs are not committed to him long term, and if they want, they can trade him at the trade deadline. Not to mention the 2031 unprotected first round pick swap the Kings gave them could be really valuable down the line. I appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about the Kings trading for DeRozan. I hope you enjoyed hearing my initial thoughts about the trade. See you on the next one.